Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday to you. I hope you are planning a wonderful weekend this weekend. I would love for you, if you check in, to comment below where you're from and what are you doing this weekend? That's what I want to know. I want to welcome you to the Junk You Should Know show. This show is every Friday at noon PST, and where we talk about all sorts of wellness, just stuff you should know. And sometimes I interview people and sometimes it's just me. And today it's just me. We are talking about why your protein powder is garbage. And the likelihood is it is, because most of them out there are. Now, before we get into that, I want to wait for a few people to join and give everybody a chance to get on over here. We're going to talk about our sponsor. And the sponsor is The Change Cave, which I spelled wrong. How hilarious is that? The Change Cave is a 12-module online learning institute for women over 40 who want to up their wellness game. It comes with weekly newscasts, a personal portal dashboard with exercises that come out every week. We have mindset classes every month, and we have a very intimate, powerful group of women in a private Facebook group that are active and ready to motivate you to your next best. So link will be below. Make sure you check that out. We've got a price change coming up in September, so you're going to want to get on board before we do that. Now, moving back so I can get rid of my spelling mistake. Protein powders. Now, there's a long history of protein powders that came out in the 1950s as a meeting a need for bodybuilders, competitive bodybuilders, to build muscle faster. And that was the specific culture it was used for a long time until it started to make it into the mainstream market. And the problem was, not unlike fish oil and some other products that are out there, as soon as the craziness started, every manufacturer jumped on board and started pumping out products with not a lot of concern to the impact to the public, because they started filling them with binders and chemicals and GMO and all sorts of things that you're going to be surprised to hear about. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is why they're no good. Okay, so the first questionable issue is the fact that they're so highly processed, right? It's a powder, okay? We always want to lean toward whole food, and a piece of chicken is not powder. So to get it to look like a powder, there's a lot of work that has to happen. And so part of the issue is they are highly processed. Our bodies do not like processed foods and things. Luckily, there are some good choices out there that, although they are processed, they're incredibly well sourced, they're organic based, they are free and clear of all the junk I'm going to talk about. But it is something to be aware of. And when you process, you also are going to typically add heat, and heat is going to denature protein. It's going to make it less effective. Our bodies don't like denatured proteins. They don't know what to do with it. And so that's going to be a big contender when you are out shopping for your protein powder, is to look at how processed it is and how the particular product is put together. Number two is that there are typically preservatives, things like maltodextrin, soy lecithin, xanthan gum, and my personal favorite, soy. Soy and I have a hate on for each other. Soy was never meant to be an actual food. It was used in farmers' fields to turn over fields between seasons. They realized it grew like crazy, so they figured out how to make it digestible, because it's not actually digestible in its normal form. So they bathed it in hexane and all sorts of chemicals and did all sorts of fun things to it to make it so that your body could just barely get it past the intestinal tract. And it's a hormone interrupter, it's GMO, it's got all sorts of problems. So the issue is that a lot of protein powders have soy in them. So if one thing you want to pay attention to is making sure that your protein powder is soy-free. The other one, xanthan gum, soy lecithin, maltodextrin, even if you get a really good one, sometimes a couple of those things are going to be in there, but let's just try to keep it to a minimum. Next, GMO, genetically modified. There are often 20, 30, even 40 ingredients in some of the mainstream protein products out there. If you have that many ingredients, then I can pretty much guarantee you they are going to be genetically modified in some way, shape, or form. So know this: if you aren't specifically looking at a label on your protein powder that says non-GMO, then I can almost guarantee you are getting exposed to genetically modified ingredients. And we don't like that because it really messes with us as humans. That's a whole other show. So the other thing is allergens. We've got a couple more reasons why these protein powders suck. Allergens. Now, unfortunately, protein powders are typically made from egg, soy, wheat, dairy, and those are 4 of the 5 main allergens. Corn might even be in there. That would be number 5. And many of us are now sensitized to foods that as a culture we weren't before because we overexpose our bodies to it. And a highly processed protein powder where you're taking in scoops of this stuff means that you're getting a much more concentrated dose of the product that you might actually be sensitive to. And something to pay attention to. Teenage boys, if you have a teenage boy, more than likely, unless they never do a sport and they're just not interested in that kind of thing, they are dosing with protein powders well above the serving size recommended. And so if your teenage boy or girl, it seems to be that in the data, the teenage boys are hyperdosing with protein powders more than girls. If you have someone in your family who's doing that, the problem is that they are getting 2, 3, 4, 5, the recommended dose, and it's already concentrated source of egg or dairy or whatever it is that your person is allergic to. So just keep that in mind. Stick to the regular serving size because we don't need to be taking in 40 or 50 grams of protein in one sitting. Our bodies don't know what the heck to do with it. We need to spread it out. And if you think about it, even if you ate a meal with a ton of protein grams, your body has to pick through the food to get at the protein. It's not like you've injected it through a vein like you do when you're taking a powder that's so easily accessible into your bloodstream. Keep that in mind. Artificial sweeteners. Yeah, aspartame is bad. So there's that. And a lot of protein powders are sweetened with aspartame because they know that you as a public are going out looking for low sugar because that's the thing right now. And so you can flip over on the back and go, wow, there's hardly any sugar grams in here. And you might miss that ingredient 3 is aspartame or sucralose or any of the artificial sweeteners. And the issue is that it tears up your intestinal system. It's cancer causing. It's got all sorts of problems. And so we want to avoid the artificial sweeteners as much as possible. But the manufacturers want to make it sweet enough so that you go running back to super supplements faster than you can say whey smoothie to buy your next vat of protein powder. So artificial sweeteners is another problem. They're unregulated is the next one. Let me explain. The Food and Drug Administration does not have regulation over supplements, and there are some good things about that. There are a lot of bad things about that too, because if I decide to make a protein powder and put it on the shelf at Super Supplements, I only have to test it one time to tell you what's in it. And then after that, no one's ever testing it again. So I can put whatever the heck I want in there. And so I could put salt, sugar, I could put any kind of chemical, I could put binders, I could put fake stuff in there just to fill up the jar. You don't know because it's not regulated. And so what's really important is that you find a well-sourced company that subjects themselves to independent testing or is pharmaceutical grade. And the ones we're going to talk about today do fall under that category. Okay, so that is, good example of that is there was an Olympic bobsledder. His name is Pavle Jovanovic, something like that. And he tested positive for a banned substance. And he's like, yeah, I didn't take that. So what he did realize is he had switched protein powders about a month before the event. He accused the protein company. They denied. They went to court. Guess who won? Because he had the product independently tested. And sure enough, the banned substance that the Olympic Committee doesn't want you dosing with when you are a competitor was in a basic protein powder you can buy on any shelf. And absolutely confirm that lots of protein powders out there have substances in them that we need to be very careful of. And again, they're not regulated. So just be cautious, okay? Heavy metals. Isn't that fun? Yeah, protein powders have been tested independently and have been found with cadmium, lead, mercury, all sorts of fun things. I will leave some references below on that. Now, I'm not saying every single protein powder out there you have to run screaming from, but I'm going to teach you how to pick out the ones that I think are the best, okay? So if you are going shopping for a protein powder, and I'm going to give you 4 brands that I love, and you can just stick to those. That will make it super easy. But if you want to just be a renegade and go out, find your own protein powder, and you want to adhere to the fact that there are 7 reasons why you are probably going to buy a crappy one, so you want to know what to look for, the first thing I recommend is if you are walking into what looks like a warehouse store, I recommend you don't buy your protein powder there. And the reason is because well-sourced, good ingredient, organic, non-GMO protein powders typically have a price point that goes with that. And those aren't the types of products that big warehouse stores are going to put on their shelves necessarily. Okay, there are rules to the exception. But just as a rule of thumb, go to your local nutrition store, and I mean health food store, not like a mega supplement store. I mean, I'd like a nice local health food store where the person is knowledgeable and can teach you about the products that they're looking at. Whole Foods, PCC locally, they train their supplement people extremely well. You can be confident in talking to those people. And that's the first thing I recommend. Second thing is that your product is made as whole food as possible. So you want to be able to recognize the ingredients, and you want as few ingredients as possible. There's a product I'm going to share with you later that has 1 ingredient in it, and I love it because of that. So few ingredients, whole food, look for the non-GMO label, and if you can find a pharmaceutical grade, and luckily Amazon is now selling pharmaceutical grade supplements, and some other places are as well. It used to be that only I could sell you that because I'm a doctor. It used to be that only doctors could distribute pharmaceutical grade supplements. It's not the case anymore. Companies like Pure Encapsulations, Metagenics, they are available on places like Amazon, and they are pharmaceutical grade supplements. Means they're batch and lot tested regularly. So what's in the jar is exactly what it says is in the jar on the label. So that's what you're going to look for. But why do that when I can just tell you what to go and get? Okay. And look, I've gotten so excited. I've missed, do you know how much I love my little labels? Look at this. What about whey? I would have missed it if I didn't check in. Let's talk about it. Whey is like protein powder ingredient number 1, right? Like there are so many whey protein products out there, and there is a lot of science behind whey being wonderful. I know none of it. I don't understand it. I haven't read it. And the reason is because I'm dairy intolerant. And I choose not to take anything with whey in it because it comes from a dairy source. Now, people will argue with you and say, well, whey doesn't actually have dairy because of the way it's processed before putting it into the protein powder. It gets rid of the sort of lactose-containing particles that are in it. And so it's rendered dairy-free. I don't totally agree with that. They do say that whey protein isolate is the most lactose-free whey you can get. So if you are only a little bit sensitive to dairy, or you don't really care, then take it because it's got some great health benefits. But if you are dairy sensitive, or if you are paleo and you are trying to be dairy free, then you don't want to take whey. And the good news is that in the last 5 years, there are so many protein powders out in the market that are dairy free. It didn't used to be that way. All protein powders had dairy at one time. And now we're so lucky because every single one I'm telling you about today is dairy free, which is so great. Okay, let's get to business, right? We want to look at what protein powders out there I recommend. Now, the first one is Vega. Vega protein comes in a million different flavors, and whoa, I could never figure out which. I have to do everything backwards. Okay, here we go. Let's do that. Okay. They have a shake, they have straight protein powder, they have another one that I take that is called smoothie or something like that. Here's why I like them. First of all, they have 20 grams of protein per serving, which is more than enough. They are gluten-free. They come in these great little travel packs, which I really enjoy. There's a good price point. Keep in mind they are vegan, but not paleo. And why aren't they paleo? Because they have pea protein. And pea protein is a legume. And in paleo, we don't eat legumes. So this one is a nice one. I really like it. I use this in my chocolate vanilla smoothie recipe on the blog, on the Well Fit and Fed blog. And that's a delicious kind of dessert because it tastes like chocolate mousse. So I will put the link to that down below. That's a really good one. Number 2, Sun Warrior. I don't happen to have any of this in my house right now, so there you go. Sun Warrior Warrior Blend. One of my favorites. It is packed. Oh, I'm even going to read it. It's raw. It's soy-free, gluten-free, dairy-free, vegan. And it is packed full of awesome ingredients like goji berry and coconut and all sorts of great stuff. And it's 20 grams per serving, which is amazing as well. So that is Sun Warrior. And Sun Warrior has some other proteins. So make sure that you get the Warrior Blend. Arr. Pumpkin seed protein. This is the protein powder. This was my gateway to protein powders. My sister introduced this to me when I was actually quite young. They've been around for quite a while. And it's from a company called Omega Nutrition. And this product is gluten-free, 100% organic, one ingredient. So, okay, the ingredient list literally is pumpkin seeds. And how awesome is that? And when you open it up, you can see, yep, it looks like powdered pumpkin seeds. And I love it. Now, it's only 9 grams a serving, but who cares? Use 9 grams or double up. It's up to you. But again, remember, you don't need 30 or 40 grams in a serving. You want to eat enough whole food that you only have to supplement a small amount with protein powder, okay? Or maybe you don't supplement at all. But if you choose to, you can, but just don't try to make it all of your protein source. Okay, now we're down to my favorite. This is collagen peptides, and I have some incredible news. These are now, guess where I got this? Costco. And what did I say about buying supplements from a box store? Here's your one exception. I cannot believe that they're there, but they are. They just recently got put in Costco, and I nearly flipped my lid because I'm so happy with the product. The way they source, it's pasture raised, grass fed, very few ingredients. They stand by their product. They test regularly. They are awesome. And so I was super happy to see that now it's been made very affordable for just about anyone. So Vital Proteins at Costco is a one exception because you can look at the other vats of protein powder at places like that and see that there are 40 ingredients, and most of which you can't even pronounce. Now, Vital Proteins Collagen Peptides is a collagen supplement. And if you are not sure why you need collagen, then I will put the link to the collagen blog post I did not too long ago that goes through all the reasons you want to be supplementing with collagen. There are so many: digestion, brain function, just about every tissue in your body needs collagen. And we are short on it. Why? Because we insist on eating boneless, skinless breasts of chicken, and we don't eat whole animal anymore. We don't eat the tendons or as much of the cartilage or any of the ligaments or any of that stuff. And I know that sounds gross, but that's how we used to consume protein, is alongside all the collagen. And now we've removed it all. Our bodies need it. And so my recommendation is that we supplement with it. And so good news, I'm going away this weekend. Look what I'm taking. Yep, little travel packets. You can get these online. They're awesome. Vital Proteins, little collagen peptide travel packets. They're awesome. Oh my goodness, we went through a lot of information. So just a quick recap. We're talking about why your protein powder is garbage, and there's 7 reasons. It's highly processed, preservatives, GMO, allergens, artificial sweeteners, unregulated, heavy metals. Those are the reasons they're caca. Now, How do we find a good one? Well, you just listen to me and either do Vega, Sun Warrior Warrior Protein, Pumpkin Seed Protein, or Collagen Peptides by Vital Proteins, or you go to your local small health food store, or you get a pharmaceutical grade protein powder that is batch and lot tested regularly. You look for non-GMO, you look for whole food, you look for organic. These are the things you want to look at when you're trying to check out a protein powder. With any supplement, cheaper is not better. Almost 100% of the time, the rule is cheaper is not better. And frankly, some of those big companies putting out crap protein powder are pricing it exorbitantly. So some of these whole food products are actually better priced. Keep that in mind. And another rule of mine is take a better product, less of it, if it's a financial concern. So instead of buying the cheaper crap and taking the same dose, just take a little less. Your body's going to use it, spread it out a little longer, but you're getting the better product. Okay? All right. I'm Dr. Heather. This is the Junk You Should Know show. Please tune in every Friday at noon PST, and please share this with your peeps. I would love to get into their world and share this information with them and have them learn and be encouraged. And that would be so amazing. And so thank you for watching. If you're watching the replay, thanks to you as well. And look for all the links that I'm going to put below and all the comments. Go on and go through them. And again, leave me where you're from, what you're doing this weekend. I look forward to talking to you next week. We'll see you then. Have a great weekend.